Yo, this your boy, Icy Ghost 19. Good morning, by the way, on my time. I don't know what time you're gonna be watching this video, but good morning. It is 7:15 my time right now. So just good morning. So I wanted to go back, and we was talking about fathers, and I know I haven't been posting a lot, but stay with me. I want to talk about Dan, and like I talked about him a little bit, but I didn't talk about him. I feel like I didn't talk about him fully enough. So here's what I want to do. Okay, so I want to talk about the impact he had on my life, just in general. So when I was growing up, I didn't have my father in my life really. He was in my life, but he was in and out of my life. He came a weekend, but he didn't spend the time with me. It's either I was at one of his baby mama's house, one of his girlfriend's houses, a stranger house that his friend. And when I do air quotes because I don't know, was they friends or this and that? It was confusing. And then or one of my family's houses. And the thing about it is, they didn't speak a lick of English really. Like not all of them. They all like some of them speak English, but some of them did not. Okay, so it was a toss up. Okay, so that so my two older brothers, my two older brothers, they both had mentors. They had mentors at about 8, and one was about 8 when he got his mentor, and the other one was about 10. So they both had mentors, they both this. Then my sister, she had several different mentors. Okay. Um and and so I kept on asking my mom, where is my mentor at? And she kept on telling me they haven't found me one yet. And so it was disappointing because like we moved to Arizona for 1 year, and then when she said we moved, it kind of messed us up for losing my mentor because I guess, quote unquote, the agency wasn't looking anymore since we moved to Arizona. But Keith and Cameron still had their mentors. Their mentors even came to Arizona to see them, and it just it was hard. We were out of state, and they still have mentors coming. And for me, growing up, I really lacked that male bond. It was disappointing. And like with my dad, I never really communicated with him really because it was just confusing how to talk to a man who doesn't show no interest in you, who when you're hurt and sad, you don't know what to say. You don't know what to talk about. Because like my dad, he was when he picked me up, we would be in the garage some weekends, and I mean literally he would pick me up sometimes it between like 4 to like 9 at night, sometimes even 1. Okay, and so when he picked me up, we would go to a garage, and I'm talking about a mechanic garage. We would be there for, it just depends. Like, it depends on what time we got there. So, like, sometimes we would get there anywhere from like 5 to 1 in the morning, and we wouldn't leave until like 3 in the morning. Like, I mean, I'm talking seriously, 3, 4 in the morning. working on cars. Well, he would work on cars. I would be bored out of my mind. Like, I'm like literally bored out of my mind. And as me being a kid, when I was younger, active imagination really helped. But as I got older, it's not that my imagination wouldn't help. It's just every weekend it was just a strain of, man, like, can we do something else? Can we do something fun for a change? And I guess that was his way of trying to bond with me. But I never really liked it cars. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked it working on them with him at first when I was younger. But as the time gone on, that wasn't my interest. My interest was just different things, like writing was one. Anime was one. And just different things, like sports, all that. So it was just hard. Okay. So we okay. And then let's see. So fast forward from that to about, I think we met so we met 2014, okay? 2014. That's when we met. I was 13 at the time. I remember it was the summer of 2014 because I was turning 14 that year. Okay. We just ended up moving back to Grand Rapids. The simple fact of it is because my mom was in a bad relationship, so we ended up moving back to Grand Rapids. It was a big thing. And so we was living in my granddad's house at the time. And the problem was my granddad's house was messed up. The pipes was rusted. But we ended up getting them fixed. And, let's just say some stuff. The house was, the pipes was rusted, but at the end of the day, it was, I don't know how to explain it, but stuff happens. Okay, so 2013, I go and we go to church, okay? We go to church. And at this time, my faith is weak because I'm just tired. Like, I'm tired of going through stuff. I'm tired of being by myself. I'm tired of feeling like I don't have no one to talk to other than family, other than my grandma. Like, my grandma, like, I talk to her a lot. I asked for help a lot. And my grandma, like, she gave me help. She gave me comfort. She gave me strength a lot. And so I ended up meeting Dan there. And it was crazy because the day I met Dan, the day I had a outburst of anger. Outburst of anger, pain, and all this. So it was just crazy having that outburst. And like, I was pure pissed because me and my mom got into it over some stuff, and it was just like, I didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to do this anymore. And so then we talked and we calmed down and this and that. So our first instant we had an ice cream thing. We ate ice cream at an ice cream shop, and we played ball. He beat my butt, but it was fun because I had someone to play basketball with. He played basketball. It was just great. Okay. And Okay. Let's see. Fast forward a few weeks, like 2 weeks. My mom told me I can play football. I can finally play sports now. And I was like, yay, finally play sports, I can finally do something. They told me what I needed. Cleats, shoulder pads, this. Okay. Well, not shoulder pads, some other things. And so me trying to play sports, me trying to do all this was great. But my mom didn't have the money for my gear, like my cleats or the cleats or certain things. Like she didn't have the money. She didn't have the extra money because we was about to move. And my mentor was asking me what was wrong then. And I said, I want to go out for sports. I want to play. And he's like, okay, why can't you? I'm like, my mom doesn't have the money for the gear. Like, I can't get the gear. Hey, grab me a juice, please. So my mom didn't have the money for the gear. Like, I couldn't play. Actually, no, give me a water, please. So I couldn't play sports. And Dan was like, no, you can play sports. I'm like, how? I don't have the money. He said, I will get you the money to play sports. I will pay for your gear. I'm like, okay, so we're finna go to Salvation Army and look for cleats that are used, look for this, look for these. We finna go thrift store hunting. That's going to be his idea, I'm pretty sure, because why would someone spend money on me like that? We went to Dick's Sporting Goods. Then, like 2 days later, Dick's is one of the biggest sporting centers stores that I know. I don't know if it's bigger ones in your city, your state, or whatever, but Dick's is like mad expensive here. So we go to Dick's. I'm like, okay, I guess we're just getting my pads in. We're gonna still go and look for some cleats. He like, okay, so we don't grab what you need. What you need? I'm like, I need leg pads. Okay. He bought my leg pads. Okay. He's like, what else you need? I said, well, I need cleats, I guess. He got the cleats. I need a cup. He got the cup. And like all this stuff is brand new. He ended up spending like almost $500 that day. Ended up spending $500. And the crazy part, like, he ended up coming to all my games that I went to. Like, him and his wife at the time came to all of my games. And it was crazy. So it was crazy. Like, just going through that and everything. So we ended up moving to Holland, and Holland is 30 minutes from Grand Rapids. But, I was, in my mind, I was thinking, Dan ain't finna drive 30 minutes to see me every week. He's not finna be in my life. He's not finna be here anymore, because at the end of the day, who's about to drive 30 minutes to see a kid that they just met every week to mentor him? Who's about to step up and walk through this journey with him? And my set was, no, he's not doing this. He's not coming, so why should I care anymore? He came. And it was really like he came every week that he could. I mean, some weeks the weather was too bad, or some weeks he couldn't come because he had to work late and just different things. But like 90% of the 97% of the time, he would come every Thursday. And about 60% of the time we would do something fun. I won't lie. Um, he also like I said, he showed fatherly love. So he bought me my stuff. He helped me pay for wrestling too, the wrestling gear, all this that. But at the same time, he was also a disciplinarian. I can't pronounce right now. A discipline. You guys know what I mean. He also disciplined me. Um, so like I remember one time I got suspended. We didn't do nothing but we talked about my actions. We went to the beach, which I enjoy the beach, but we talked about why I got in trouble. One time, my mom ratted on me, telling him about my grades. He's like, "How are you failing this class?" I'm like, "Hey, some reason." I didn't have a valid reason. He's like, you can get kicked off the team. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still good. He's like, yeah, no. I want you to get in the mindset of being better. So he ended up getting on my case about it. And like we went and grabbed food after we studied for 2.5 hours. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. I told him I didn't want to study. He said, well, you don't have no choice. I'm going to be at the library. And then you're going, you come, you don't. Okay. And I sat on my butt for about 25 minutes, finally walked down to the library, did the studying with him and everything. And this, yeah. And let me clarify, I hate math with a passion. So studying, he always did the math with me. And because that was my worst subject, other than that, science, easy. I passed that with pretty much B's and A's. English, C minuses to B's. It just depends on the English work. And then history was, I always knocked that out of the park. I think the lowest grade I ever got in history for one class was a C minus. But let me clarify, that was when I went back to school. So when I went back to school and I finished all my classes, it was like 2 left. And I had both A's in it, and I took the final and I didn't give a fuck. So like when I took the final, I basically didn't even care. And I got like a 33 on both finals, 33, 30, like low, like, I don't know, I can't remember right now. It was like low 30s, high 40s, well, low 30s, maybe in the 40s, but I basically bombed the test, and it knocked my grade down from an A on both of them to C's. So I really didn't care. So yeah, he was, he's real good at math. I don't know why. I hate math. He loves it. I'm like, okay. So he studied with me. He did all this. He disciplined me. And it was 90% of it. I loved him. I yearned for the attention because he helped me out with so much. He gave me the strength. But the 10%, I couldn't stand him because at the end of the day, I hated when he studied with me and we didn't do nothing fun. And then like, he was also there to talk about girls with me. Like, I kind of talked to my mom about it. My two older brothers was never around anymore. And then the girls, it's kind of weird talking to your sisters about girls when they're like younger than you, not even in high school. So it was just weird. So Dan and I just talked about everything. And we talked about the Bible. We talked about my pain. We talked about this. It was crazy. Like, we talked about everything. And so I wrestled in 8th grade, freshman year and sophomore year. 8th grade was my only full season of wrestling. So the reason why is my freshman and sophomore year, I both had concussions. Let's see. But my record, 8th grade was atrocious. It was like 10 losses, 7 wins, or something like that. And I remember because it was a filling out process my first year of wrestling, so people was kicking my tail left to right, and I mean I would be getting destroyed, and I would only be on the mat for 30 seconds at max, and it was just crazy because I really wasn't getting it. It wasn't clicking. It wasn't clicking. And I remember my mentor. He was here at that match, and it was my mom's friend and my mom. They was all there, and we're trying to get everyone's getting pumped to everyone, and then everyone leaves the locker room except me. And so my mindset is, I don't know what to do because I have tried everything. And I tried everything. And Dan said, the last time he said, I don't care if you win or lose, I'm still gonna come and support you. And it really clicked in my mind that, and we talked about God, and he wasn't he didn't push it on me, but he let me talk about it. And one of our discussions one time was about, do God really love me? Because at the end of the day, he says he's a father, but I don't feel the love of a father. I don't feel that from God. I don't feel it from my own birth dad. So where does this love come from? And I won't even lie, a lot of my anger comes from that. And like Dan told me, at the end of the day, you need to put your faith in God. You need to be strong and pray. And so, for the first time, I actually prayed before a match, and I put my knee down, I got on one knee and prayed to him, and I said, this is what I say every time I'm going to either be in a big match when I wrestled, or a football game when I played, or whatever. I win, I praise you. I lose, I praise you. No matter what, I praise you. And that was my little mantra, my little thing to pump me up, to get going. Then right before the match, I would play music. And so then I went on a winning streak. I mean, boom. 7 wins, the last tournament, just dominated it. Did what I needed to. And then, so it was that. And then over the years, I met his mom. Well, I met his mom actually in a year of meeting his mom and dad. So I met him, and they was really sweet. They was like, "Oh my goodness, we finally get to meet you after Dan been just non-stop talking about you." I'm like, "I hope good things." He's like, "Yes, of course, good things." They say you're very smart, even though this and that, and like I was like, "Yeah." I try to be. It's just sometimes tests mess me up, and like his mom can cook. Like her cookies. Oh my goodness, that's why I gained so much weight because every time I see her, she had a plate for me. Her cookies are the bomb. Like man, the bomb. And his dad like. We talked about football. We talked about wrestling. We talked about everything. He was like, he's really that guy. He's really nice and sweet and everything. So yeah, we talked about all this. Um, and like just growing up, Dan, and I just like I've been through pretty much everything. Um, fast forward to uh, fast forward to June, the end of sophomore year. Ended up getting expelled. Me and Dan talked about it and everything, blah blah blah. So I ended up going to boarding school for a year. Well, not a year, 10 months. Okay. I think it was July 10th or June. No, July 10th. I went in, and so I'm in boarding school. Like we talking, we're trying everything, and September is coming up, and it's the annual. I forget what it's called, but it's basically like a block party at my school, and it's the last bash of the summer. Everyone is invited. You can come, family wise. It's just a way for people to look at the place and to donate, to sign up their kids if they want to, just different things. And so my mom was like, "I don't know if we're gonna make it, blah blah blah." And Dan said, "I'm coming." I'm like, "Okay." So it's not that far from where I live or the state. It's about almost 2.5 hours from Holland, three and like 20 minutes from Grand Rapids. It just depends on which way you take and depends how fast you drive, you know. So I'm not expecting either of them to come because like my mom, um, she still didn't even come to visit me to stay for the weekend, so it was hard. And then Dan, we haven't seen each other in the whole 6 months or so. So no, not 6 months. We haven't seen each other for 3 months. July, August, September. So yeah, 3 months basically. It was September 16th, I believe. So it was 3 months and 6 days ish. So we haven't seen each other. And so he comes and like we talk and everything. And like he's there, he's happy. We chill. We took pictures. My mom ended up bringing my nephew. I ended up taking pictures with him with that. And so it was a lot we ended up doing. And so it was just that. And it was just a great day. Then we're in September, so October, November, December. 3 months later, and I came home for Thanksgiving on my wife. So I came home for Thanksgiving, and Dan was already out, so I couldn't see him. I came home for Christmas, and Dan tells me that he's going through a divorce, and so and like he's been going through it all summer, but Dan didn't tell me about it. I didn't even know he didn't have his ring on through Thanksgiving, through the thing, and that's a good thing because he showed that even though he's going through a rough time or whatever, he's still here to talk to me. He's still there, and like I remember that day, he looked so happy. Like we talked about everything, how much, like how hard it's been being here and everything, and he was like, I understand. You still gotta power through it. This is going to help you in the long run. And I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. I just want to go home. It's like you wasn't going down the right path. I'm like, yes, but I want to go home. It's like you wasn't going down the right path. You went to juvie. You got expelled. Even after you was expelled, and you was still fighting, you was still arguing, you was still being destructive. Yes, but I didn't want to be here. I'd rather be with my family. I'd rather go to my grandma's house. He's like, well, that's your mom's decision, not mine. I'm like, yeah. So, but just all that, and like he's still going through that divorce process. He was still focused on me, and it was just showed me how much he cares for me. Fast forward, this summer of 2018, okay, right before I turned 18, I moved out. Not moved out, but I stopped. The boarding school said I didn't have to be there anymore. My expulsion was up, and they said my academics and everything, how I was good, and I could basically return back to civilization. And when I say that is because this boarding school was in Indiana, and the closest gas station was 10 miles away. So therefore, we was in the boomies, no technology really, except TV and Netflix. But the Netflix was through our house parents, so that's the only thing. And it was just all this extra stuff, like rules and regulations. I remember the first week I was home, it was just hard being home. And just that. And then I met Dan. We met up, we hanged out. And like it was good. And like we just kept on building on that relationship. Every year every year we see each other. It's either we see I don't see him as much as I do now. And it's just because I'm building my own life. He's building his family. But he's still there for my big moments, and I'm still there for his. He got remarried in I think 2021 or 2020. 2020, because I remember I just turned 20 and he got married and I couldn't drink at his thing, so it was 20. We're chilling, we're having a great time. I'm on the dance floor, goofing off, and everything. I ended up doing the splits and ripped my pants. Yeah, it was a awesome and epic night. His new wife I love and respect because like when she came into the picture, like we all sat down and we was all talking, and she was like, no matter what, I welcome you into this family. And I was like, awesome. But I was like, so she accepts me. And like she is just so nice, so sweet. Like, and she gives so much good advice. And I see why Dan married her, because she's just like, wow, a firecracker. Like, she's just like I've had problems with relationships, problems with my grandma, problems with just different people. And I talked to her about it, and she really gave me a different perspective that I needed to see. Well, I did see, or like I seen or I didn't see, but I didn't want to explore that option, you know what I mean? Because I was too stubborn, you know? But yeah, so they got together, they got married, all this and everything. And so, fast forward to, okay, so fast forward to 2021, October, September, right before September. Me and Dan was talking about what I wanted to do in my life. And I said I was thinking about back to school. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. He's like, then do what you want to. Then I ended up getting Covenant a month later, but we was going through it, just trying to figure everything out. And like Dan was talking about, what is it? And so we talking about it. I told him I'm back in high school, and he's like, good, stay with it. I'm like, okay. And he's like, by the way, stay with it. I'm like, okay. And so like the times where I was having a hard time or this and that, he was still there. He even told me, like, because I asked him a math problem, and like my math, like he's like, they have teachers, yeah? I'm like, yeah. He's like, stay in their pocket. I'm like, okay, but he's like, you're good at talking, you're good at this. Stay in their pocket, learn the best they can. When they're giving you help, ask them for help completely. And so we just did that. We did the system. We stayed. I stayed in his pocket, basically holding on to him, trying to get every knowledge of math I could. And on the days that Dan wasn't working on anything, he helped me study. Oh my goodness! And we studied, and it got there. Okay. So fast forward to 2023. Okay. We're everything. And Dan made me a promise back in like 2017 or something. He said he would help me when I moved in. Like help me get stuff, help me all this. And so we're back at 2023. I'm just moving into my place. Like, I don't have no furniture. I don't have this. I don't have that. I just threw away my old bed because it was being like, I put that bed through some stuff with doing some things on that bed. I put it through some things, so it was it was broken down. So I ended up throwing the bed away. So Dan was like, okay, so we're moving in. He's like, what you want for Christmas? I'm like, I really don't want nothing but a bed. Been looking online for a newer bed. It's like, bet, I got you on the bed. Oh, forgot. For college, he ended up giving me my birthday I gift early, and it was a laptop for college. So that was it. So we ended up getting the bed. He ended up his mom ended up giving me this couch, and then his father-in-law gave me that chair. So it's like we already got furniture in here, thank God. His mom also helped me get some plates, silverware, and different things I needed. Dan and also ended up buying me sheets and also helping me get some towels and things like that. So it's like Dan has been here since I was like 13, and I'm 23. It's 10 years, and in this 10 years, he has made me angry about 10 times maybe at max. He hasn't made me happy 90% of the time. We have fought about 3-4 times of arguing, yelling, and him yelling at me because my stupidity. But in these 10 years, he has been nothing but a father to me. And I thank God for him. And like the good book says, God reigns supreme. And the thing is, I'm glad he does, because even though I didn't get a mentor until I was 13, almost 14, God knew what he was doing. He told me to be patient and wait because my mentor wasn't ready yet. He wasn't able to be my mentor yet because he was in school. He was doing his own life. He was being prepared. He was being taught. He was learning how to deal with different things. And as he grew and became older, he became ready to deal with the issues I had. And he has comforted me and pushed me to become a better man. And so at the end of the day, I had to be patient because he was not ready yet. Dan, if you watch this, hope you enjoyed the story. Life is life. But I'll see you guys later. Deuces.